Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Warped, a completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast, where we do unasked-for audio commentary of Star Trek episodes. Here are your hosts, Sean.
Get me to my regular doctor. They're familiar with my weird, things.
Matt.
What do you mean? I agree with you, but what do you mean?
Jake.
That was a possum pun.
Philippe.
Oh, now the ships are fucking? Oh my god.
Erin.
This show is so good. We're just like watching it.
Min Win.
Would you fuck, marry, or kill me?
All of
I
that.
would do all three in that order.
And May.
Dear Diary, I kissed an android today, and he told me he felt nothing.
Make it so.
My name is Matt.
I'm Sean.
Oh, wait, but that's in the intro, too.
Yeah,
we don't
that
even need to do that part.
That was what I'm asking, I think, because, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Robots have taken over.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well,
So it ends with May saying, and I'm May, right? And then her
and May,
quote.
and then her quote.
Yeah. Yay!
Yay! Hello!
Wow.
Welcome to Warped, everybody.
Good, thank you.
What a wonderful intro.
We like to
robots
thank
take over the rest of this podcast?
Kenyon Strobeck for the new intro.
Yeah.
So
Kenyon can just fill out the rest of the hour with some content,
Yes.
commentary.
Now, please start making the podcast.
you see how reliable we are making
You did
the
first.
podcast.
He did the first 30 seconds. He
Yeah.
just has to do the next 47.
I feel like there's enough content out there that an AI could pretty much,
You think an AI? There's somebody must have tried it. An AI podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Where two AIs talk to each other for 60 minutes.
yeah.
About murder, she wrote.
Yeah, I think that could happen, and I think it would be
I
just
would
as
listen to
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
We've got to find out where that is.
God, I really love murder.
Murder she wrote. Murder she wrote. No.
What are we doing? Oh, we're watching Star Trek: The Next Generation.
We are.
That's what this podcast ostensibly is about.
All right, I gotta leave then. I thought
It's
this was
season 5. It's episode 2. It's called Darmok.
Yeah,
There
baby.
is a powerful argument to be made that this is the greatest episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
just like the show Darmok and Greg.
Darmok and Greg would also be a good show.
Yeah,
That's a
I'd
great
watch that show too.
Yeah,
I'd watch that guy and Greg try and communicate
Yeah.
with each other.
yeah.
He's all Shaka, the walls.
Yeah.
And Greg's like, my parents are hippies. I need you to.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's
it
her
was
parents were hippies. His
yeah.
parents were Susan
Yeah.
Sullivan. And,
Yes.
yeah.
They're strange cohabitators. It's the new Odd Couple. I love.
The best joke in The Odd Couple is when Oscar says to Felix, "You put a Post-it on the door. It said, 'Please buy some milk.' F you." It took me 45 minutes to realize that F you meant Felix Unger. That's the joke with Darmok, where
Yeah.
he's like, "It said Shaka when the walls fell, but it took me 45 minutes to realize." You meant Shaka.
That means buy more milk. Yeah, I didn't realize it, Shaka. Or Darmok.
All right, well, let's do it.
Okay.
45:35 on the clock. We're watching it on Matt's Paramount Plus through Amazon
It's on
Prime
Amazon.
because they fucking took it off of Netflix. And I'm punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
I'm so angry at
I
Paramount
know.
Plus.
I know.
Shut off for fucking Netflix.
Well, Paramount Plus kind of blows. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't know. They've got Star Trek.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they're formed. What really sucks is their fucking subtitles are
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Hot takes.
This,
Oh yeah, it's a new look.
We have to talk about this. This is the first time you ever see this. It's his suede and pleather jacket.
I love it.
And I fucking love it.
Oh, it looks.
This is my favorite Jean-Luc look of them all.
Oh, wow.
He never looks better than he does
It's like
in the jacket.
it kind of gives him a roguish sort of like smuggler kind of captain-y. I mean, just a little bit.
And this is a bit of an adventure-y. It's a more action-y, adventure-y movie than episode than some of them.
So does he have? Is a shirt with a jacket? So it's not a one piece.
Yeah,
it's
there's a
two-piece?
gray undershirt, and then he's wearing the velvet.
But the undershirt looks
over the
collared
top.
still. So
It
still
is.
Looks
It's
like...
a collar on a collar.
That works. It works.
I heard you like collars, so I put collars in your collars.
Starfleet's design choices sometimes.
Yeah. They're interesting.
Although their outfit work is usually pretty good. I like almost all of the Star Trek outfits.
It looks very tactile. It looks like if you were to like wipe it, it would like change color a little bit.
Yeah,
the
it's
way
like
that-
suede or something.
Yeah.
It's got that. There's a word for it.
Visually textured.
No, there's a specific word for that.
Rai of Luwani, Jire Rubal.
It's made from a material that looks like suede.
There's a word for when you go against the like fabric and it makes it look a slightly different color.
Oh.
Paul Winfield.
Okay. Yes. There's Paul Winfield.
I was going to ask.
So
who's that?
So let's set up the episode since we've been talking about not everything but Star Trek. This is an episode about the Enterprise has gone to meet up with this alien race. And every time they've met up with and the reason they've gone is because they thought they've detected some sort of like emergency beacon or something. And the Federation has only had a couple of other encounters with these aliens, and the problem has always been we can't figure out how to talk to them. The universal translator can translate words, but they don't know what the words mean.
Right.
So they are trying to figure out a way to communicate with these people. Everyone has the best of intentions, which is one of the reasons I love this episode. There aren't any bad guys in it. You know what I mean, Sean? Like,
yeah, no, they're just both sides trying to. I mean, it's all about communication.
Everyone's doing the best they can. And so the aliens are saying these things that are clearly words and clearly have like grammar.
There's
right?
a
They're not just
syntax to
random
it, yeah.
words. Yeah.
But they don't make any sense.
But they don't make any
to
sense.
the
Nobody
humans.
knows what they're talking about.
And they all carry knives for some reason. There it is. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
Yeah.
And he's like, who's this bitch?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
We're going on a trip.
We're going to the foothills of Southern California
Yes.
for some of this episode. Hey, Deanna's in this one.
What?
And she's not just passing by in the background.
No.
A very attractive.
I like
bird.
that. Shot through the thistle. Stay in the thistle. Stay in the thicket. No, let him emerge.
The other thing I was going to say about last week's episode was about when watching Redemption Part 1, and the only scene that Whoopi has in that episode is when she goes to target practice
Yeah.
with Worf. And she's like, I'm a much better shot than you, Worf. Which is a classic example of them shitting on Worf to prove how much better the other person is.
Except when you shit on him so much, it starts feeling like...
She's like, I guess I can do level 14 shooting.
I haven't gone down that low.
I haven't gone down there in some time.
Yeah.
That's also, I think, the first time you ever learn that she's old, right?
Like 400.
Because she says, I've been doing this since
lot
before you
longer,
were born. Anyway, I just had some more redemption thoughts in my head. I've had these things pent up in my mind.
It's been that's true.
I've been wanting to get them out.
You haven't given.
No
them
one's
their
been
due.
able to listen to my pithy comments for months.
That's right. Okay, well, you don't have to make it sound like that. I mean,
They are pithy.
I enjoy a good amount of pit.
Well, today we're watching Darmok, season 5, episode 2, original air date September 28th, 1991. Picard must learn to communicate with a race that speaks in metaphor under a difficult set of circumstances.
Yep.
What do you think the IMDb rating is,
That
Aaron?
description kind of gives
it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's kind of like the.
That's the big heart of the episode.
Good thing I wasn't paying attention.
No.
9-5.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well, she heard us both say it's one of the
May?
best ones ever.
7-7. I haven't seen it.
Anybody else?
9.
I mean, in my heart, it's a perfect 10.
Sure.
So
Wow.
I'm going to go with 10.
Philippe?
I will
You're
say
pricey.
9.2.
8.7.
That's bullshit.
Wow.
Totally.
That's people not getting it or something.
Yep, so
Wait, so-
technically May wins.
Yeah.
Everybody else was
Yay.
over.
Everything's
What?
coming up, May.
What? Wait, so was this one of these aliens on an episode of
Yes.
Lower Decks?
Yes,
Okay.
there's now a Federation officer who's Kay Sean.
Yes,
or whatever.
they've Lower Decks, as they like to do, has done a callback to an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So we should talk about Paul Winfield for a second, right?
Yes.
He's playing the other alien, the alien that's going to be down on the planet with Jean-Luc. And he, most famous to Star Trek fans, is Captain Terrell, right? In Star Trek:
in
The Wrath of Khan.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
He's wonderful in that movie.
He's the one who gets him along with Chekhov get the worms in the
They get the worms in
That's
their
right.
ears, and they become Khans, like slaves or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different role.
But it's he's great. He was one of those guys who had one of those careers that he was just in everything.
This has echoes of the Gorn to me.
This is I was actually going to bring that up. This is essentially a sequel to the Gorn, to Arena.
But instead of how they fight, it's about how they communicate with each other.
Right.
Yeah, but
It's the next generation version of that
it's
episode.
Next Generation's doing. What if we did the same story, but from a place of we have to communicate in order to learn from each other in a very 1991 kind of way?
I think this is like such an interesting sci-fi thing that hadn't really been done as well anywhere.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a better example of this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? Like,
This one kind
of all the sci-fi
I remember
you've
this one.
read,
I remember
can you
this one.
think of anything that's
No, and I've read a
better?
lot of science fiction, and this is
Me too.
like this one kind of blew me away because I think at first I was like, ho-huh, like I was like, oh, it's gonna be. I like the slower, thinky ones, but this one, like, I think I always liked it, but then like when I kind of got it at the end, I was like, it kind of blew me away.
Yes. And I think that it's got that a little bit of a twist that's kind of specifically designed to appeal to like 16-year-olds or something. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh.
Is it like Darmok's dead the whole time?
No,
Like
it's
Sixth
not
Sense?
quite that. It's a story about communication. They're trying to talk to each other and they can't figure out why they can't.
It's basically men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but on on a much grander scale, intergalactic.
So the other aliens, the Temerians, they've beamed Jean-Luc and their own captain down onto the planet. And they've put up a shield so that the Enterprise can't rescue Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc's Boy Scout skills in some question here, as he cannot manage to successfully start a fire. To be fair, he hasn't had to in a really long time. When's the last time you think Jean-Luc started a fire?
Without a phaser? Yeah.
Right.
It's been a while.
Wilderness training, right?
He probably does it in the holodeck all the time.
Nah, he's more of a Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
He's the detective.
Oh no, he's Doctor. Yeah,
he
he's the
likes to
film
be
noir guy.
dicks.
Yeah.
He likes to be dicks.
It's like couples therapy. They're like forcing this to make it. They're like, we're gonna put you guys in a room until you guys learn how to talk to each other. And it's gonna be some kind of boot camp.
I like the colors on that guy's. Even though the rest of his outfit is all tan, there's like colors.
You know
There's,
what?
like, color
I mean,
splotches.
in the Star Trek universe, humans really have a leg up on every other race on casual wear. They're the only ones who know how to be like, you know what?
Colors.
No fancy weird armbands and
He's got,
bracers.
he looks like he's got one of those candy dot things on for his sash.
Oh yeah, that's a cool sash.
This is a really lovely performance. Paul Winfield is so good in this episode because you can just sort of tell that he's inherently good, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not a bad person. He's the Picard of his people,
Right.
So it's two Picards trying to figure out how to communicate with each other.
Yeah, and Picard's the one who's actually like suspicious and more like.
Well, to be fair, he's the one who's been kidnapped.
Yeah, right. I mean, exactly.
The other guy knew this was going to happen.
Right. No, I agree. But it's just like a little bit of a reversal where usually Picard is like
the most tolerant person in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's always got like a higher level.
Well, he's cold.
Oh, he's so cold.
Thank God he had that jacket on this time.
Yeah. I think they invented this jacket for this episode. But then he keeps wearing it.
It looked a little bit more velour in the full natural light of Southern California, but it's cool. I definitely less suede, more Santa.
See, he feels bad because he's a good person. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna throw fire at Jean-Luc?
Yeah, it's like that.
So here's
like that
the
Keisha
thing.
song.
He sort of keeps saying these repetitive phrases over and over again. He said Temba is arms wide. He said Shaka when the walls fell.
I love that.
This is such an English major episode. Like, I feel like the English major in me loves the just the metaphor of it all, and it must have been so fun to make up those phrases that are meant to have incredible power and meaning. They do. And that's the thing about it, is that they do. And by the end, you're like, Shaka, when the walls fell, oh no, because you know what it means.
Yeah.
It's an episode that teaches you how to watch it while you're watching it. It's really clever.
What I like is the cultural, like I read a lot, browse a lot of Reddit, and like this was people always
Not
say,
to brag.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy it. And then that's my one social media, but I
like the good folks at Reddit.
A surprising number of people refer to this episode like in a way that's like, I think beyond, it's almost like live long and prosper. Like I feel like people often like make comments like Shaka when the walls fell. Like I see it.
Oh wait.
Oh,
there it is.
Yeah.
The Riker, give him
That's a
drink.
good one. No, that's a solid.
Everybody drink.
And he's kind of cupping there too. It's great.
That's funny. I guess that's nice. It would be nice to think that the phrases from this episode have lived on.
They have.
As long as they've lived on in a way that isn't like horrible.
No,
like,
I think it's not.
they haven't been co-opted by the
No.
fucking assholes.
Yeah,
out there.
No, it's
Darmok
always-
and Jalad have become.
Yeah, if Darmok and Jalad is
QAnon,
code for like Donald Trump,
No,
like
no,
fuck
no.
that.
No, it's not. It's always meant in good humor and fun. And I always like, and I encounter it like once a week where somebody will throw out the line, and I love it.
That's very
Yeah, it's a good thing.
sort of soothing.
Because I don't, there's a lot of ideas that come from Star Trek, assimilation, and I don't know, but the fact that this is such an excellent episode has created a cultural.
Yeah, that's
media.
why that IMDb score makes no sense.
Yeah,
this is an episode that if you had to show someone one episode of Star Trek and say to them, this is kind of what this show is about,
right?
Like, it's a moral dilemma. It's all of the things that this show does well. It's a sci-fi concept, but also it's about ethics and what are we going to do, and we're solving a problem, and it's about a bunch of smart people talking smartly.
Yeah, right. It's solving a problem in a way that's
solving
like,
a problem. If you had to show someone one episode and say, well, this is Star Trek, it could be this one.
This would be a good one.
This would be a good one.
So you said this might be in your top 5 or
100%.
Yeah. What are some of the other?
Maybe number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, of this show, I think the finale might be my favorite one, just because it's such a
it's a good,
great sort of nostalgia fest.
Well, it's the rare finale that is good.
Yeah,
I would say maybe Best of Both Worlds is better than this, but that's like nitpicking.
Yeah,
it's like saying, well, one's a 9.9 and one's a 10. Like, how do you even pick? Do you agree with me, or?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just trying to think if I can think of episodes.
Is this your favorite one?
I really like this one. I also, I really like the one where Picard lives that life because a satellite.
Inner Light. That's the other one that might be the best one.
That's coming up. That's the season 2.
Really? Yeah, because that one.
This season, we didn't really talk about it.
It's going to be a phenomenal season.
We didn't really talk about it last week during the season premiere, but this is my favorite season of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I think that there are just so many bangers in this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list. I'm just like, oh, that's a great. Is this season 5? It's also, we're in a few weeks, we'll get to.
We're going to see Star Trek 6, right?
What's it called? Well, yeah, but what's the 2-parter called?
Unification.
Unification. That's the season. Inner Light. Iborg is this season.
The very next episode after this one is Ensign Row.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So.
What a good season of television. Is the best season of television the third, usually, on shows?
I think it's always, if you can get past this sort of sophomore slump.
First one, you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Second one, you're like working out the bumps.
Unless it's a show like...
On this show, it was the third one, for sure.
Sure.
I would like to.
So many seasons, so many shows. The first season is always the best one. Now.
I would like to think of. Can you think of a show where the second season is the best season
best season?
I can, but it's only shows where the first season is only like 3 or 4 episodes,
right?
Because they got some weird like test period, and then the second season is where it's an actual.
It takes
show.
off.
The West Wing is like that. Like the first season of The West Wing is short,
right?
And the second one is when it gets really good.
That's true.
Community season 2 is pretty good.
But I can.
Yeah. Parks and Rec is a good example.
I was going to say Parks and Rec. I think the second is stronger.
Parks
than
and Rec had one of those weird, like 7-episode first seasons where they're still trying.
Yeah, but I wouldn't.
They're
say
still
that
trying
the
to be The
second
Office.
season is the best season.
No,
yeah.
not by a
Here's the thing. I actually haven't watched Parks and Rec because I can't get past the first season. I just don't care for it. I don't know.
Oh,
We've had this conversation before.
You need to get to season 2.
Yeah, if you
the show
get,
is not like that.
it's just like that. The first season is so not the show.
Yeah,
it just.
And I keep hearing it, but I have like this completionist sort of thing.
I had to go through. I like. Catherine wouldn't watch it with me. We just skipped the last couple of episodes of the first season, just went right to season 2. Because
the last episode of the first season is when they're finally diving into like what it really is, because that's when they decide they're going to keep Andy.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, this is what the show is." And then second season, from the teaser, you're just like, "Oh, okay, they know what they're doing now." Because it's literally Leslie Knope just doing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song. And you're just like, okay, I'm on board with this.
The big thing that changes is that they just stop being mean to her.
Yeah.
The first season, they're so mean to her. And it's like, all she is just someone who loves her job.
Yeah.
And they just give her shit for that. And you're like, well, that's mean. But then they stop doing that. In the second season, they're like, they become a family, and it's them versus the dumb things that the other people in the town do.
Wait,
Sean, Deanna was figuring it out.
Parents don't understand. That's what she's saying.
Deanna figures this sort of.
So, what happened while we were talking about Parks and Rec is that Deanna and Data got assigned the job of figuring out how these people talk, and what they've started to realize is that they talk in references. So everything they say is a reference, right, to a famous story in their mythology. So, like, if I said to you, Leslie Knope at the Snake Pit, you would be like, oh, I know what that is about because I watched Parks and Recreation. Or if I
Does
said,
it mean we're getting drunk
it's
tonight?
like it's almost like talking in memes.
Yeah, it's talking in metaphors, right?
Wait, what does Leslie Knope at?
I just made nothing. I just made that up. But
it means something that we've agreed
That's
upon.
that bar they used to go to,
It's just,
right?
it's all about you know, like where we talk about that there's less of it these days where you all have the same cultural reference because you all watch the same thing. You're like, we used to be able to say, you know, the professor created a coconut phone, and we would all know what that's a reference to.
Yeah, it's when someone says Marsha, 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 and you know exactly what that person is telling. You know, the example they use in the episode is Juliet on her balcony.
Right.
There's Ashley
Judd, everybody.
Whatever. Did she come back?
Yep, there she is right there.
And she'll be in more episodes. She actually comes back in a couple more episodes.
Is it? How many times does she come back? Because
you know, it doesn't say. I thought it might say.
There's the video game one, and that's the only other one I can think of that she's in.
I thought there was maybe one more, but
you might be right. We'll find out.
Let's see. Talk amongst yourselves.
I have one. Ron Bacon and Eggs.
Ron Bacon and Eggs. Is this all going to be Parks and Rec?
That's right. All we're going to do from now on
I'm like Picard. I haven't seen it.
We're trying to keep you out of the loop.
Yeah.
We're now speaking in code.
No, I got it. I got it. It's eating everything they have.
Yeah.
He says, bring me all of the bacon.
And I say, I don't think you heard me. I said, bring me all of the bacon and eggs you have.
So what Jean-Luc is figuring out is how this guy talks.
Right.
He's like, oh, when you say this, you're conjuring an image in my mind of success or failure. And there is a scene in this episode that makes me cry. I cried when I watched it the other night. When Jean-Luc figures it out and tells him a story for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful, like,
connection.
Yeah, it's it's such a beautiful moment of communication. Like they figured it out together. It's so good.
And you are correct, Matt.
What's that?
She's only in one other episode.
It's the old video
and
game.
It's the game, which is the episode
She went off
6
to be a movie
of the
star.
season.
She went off to be a movie star. She didn't have time for this. So there's an alien on this planet. So when you said that it kind of reminded you of Arena, you're right, except that there's an outside threat. What this really is Jaws. It's trying to kill the monster, and one of them is Roy Scheider, and one of them is Richard Dreyfuss, and they have to figure out how to work together to kill this fucking thing.
Right.
Well, he's figured it out.
Yes. He's like, oh, when you go like this, what you mean is we should stand like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, your eyes uncovered. He figured it out.
Yeah.
This thing's hard to kill, though.
Yeah.
In fact, they don't kill it, I don't think.
Yeah,
It's more about working together. It's a team building exercise.
It really is. It's a really extreme team building exercise.
It's like some people pass oranges with their necks.
Get ready for Jean-Luc abs. We're going to get a very rare...
Hey, it's unnecessary nakedness, but the Picard style.
Shatner used to do this all the time. But
I'll drink to it.
We got to
I'll
drink to Picard doing it.
Patrick Stewart doesn't do this very often.
Oh, man.
Man.
This dude's like the Predator.
So they're trying to beam him up, but he's like stuck in between, which is why he can't do anything.
Yeah. Let him go, guys. He's got to save the other guy. He's got to save the Temerian.
They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what's happening.
They're just
It's about failure to communicate and success at communicating.
This is just like Darmok and Jalad Tanagra.
It is a lot like Darmok and Jalad.
I get that reference. It's so good.
Yeah.
So, like, our example would be like warped in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Warp after dark.
Warped in the studio after dark.
Yeah.
And it would be a metaphor for like
Wasting time.
and general drunken.
Oh, man, you were hammered.
Warped in the studio after dark? Fuck.
Oh, that must mean Aaron's sleeping.
Well, I don't know how interested you guys are, but I have correct.
Yay!
Woo!
Spank me, Daddy.
I also have possum news.
Oh.
So I hope that Jake has done as I requested and created a possum news jingle because I specifically asked for one.
I've got several possum-related jingles ready to go. None
Sure.
of them are possum news. I'm sorry.
Well,
Those are the ones you already had going.
That's right.
all I have is
Just
possum
rework
news.
one and do it. Possum
Wait.
news.
Okay, hold on. My
All right.
computer turned itself off.
Possum news. There you go. Done.
Okay, these are Jake playing the jingle.
That was a possum pun.
I'm doing Corrections Corner now, so do the Correction Corner jingle. God damn it.
My God, the jingle mix-up. Dear.
These are corrections for episode 125 of Warped Home Soil, season 1 of Next Gen. We are in the early days of the pandemic. It's June 6th, 2020.
Wow,
when we
that
recorded
was like a
this.
reference.
Wow.
We're locked down. We're recording over Skype. Home Soil stars, co-stars, guest stars, Walter Gotell. Sean said he was in a bunch of James Bond movies as the KGB. He's a German actor, old guy by the time he's in Star Trek. He played General Anatol Gogol in The Spy Who Loved Me Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and A View to a Kill, and The Living Daylights.
That's a lot.
Sean said that he was in 6 movies. The correction is that he's also in From Russia with Love, like 20 years earlier, but playing a completely different character.
Wow.
So he was actually in 7 James Bond movies, not 6. Philippe says Sean had a mullet in high school, and we said, you must bring in a picture. Did anybody bring in a picture?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I have any pic. I have to go. I have to ask my mom.
All evidence has been destroyed.
Sean, we were talking about infomercials that we liked, and Sean talked about one where a guy took like a sort of spackle and made a boat around a bunch of chicken wire. Like he took a bunch of chicken wire and smeared the spackle, and then it turned into a boat that he could ride in. Sean couldn't remember the name of that infomercial. Can you now, Sean?
No.
It's called Flex Paste.
Flex Paste.
There you go.
Oh, man. Half the boats are made.
We were talking about the television show A Different World and about how it was a Cosby Show spinoff starring Denise Crosby. Aaron said, I mean, not Denise Crosby. Because I looked up and saw Star Trek. Starring Lisa Bonet as
like,
Denise Huxtable.
Denise Crosby.
That's basically the same thing.
Oh, my gosh.
Denise and Crosby at college.
Anyway, Aaron said that Denise was the oldest kid, but she wasn't. Sandra was the oldest of the Cosby Show kids. It's just
she was
that
a later addition.
She's in the first season, but she's off at college, so she's not in every episode.
There are the early episode, like the pilot or the second episode, he refers to having only 4 kids.
Oh.
They add the 5th kid later on in the first season.
Oh, wow.
Man, I should have known not to challenge Sean's Cosby Show knowledge.
Cosby with the cappuccino in the hotel room.
We talked to...
See?
Yeah.
But you all knew what I was talking about.
Ironically, I think I used to watch... Cosby came on right before this, right? I used to. I remember
Cosby was on Thursdays.
I know, but I'm talking about like you.
Maybe it was on a rerun Thursday night.
Oh yeah, Syndication Cosby.
Yeah,
maybe
Syndication Cosby
might have been on right before this. That would make sense.
Possible. Yeah,
I remember that.
I have more corrections, but I'm so in love with this episode that I would really just
I want to watch this performance.
Want to talk about this. So.
This is
here's Jean-Luc's big moment. He's figured out the idea. And so he's trying to, now that he knows what the issue is, now he's trying to understand the stories. And he eventually sort of understands the story that this guy is telling him, which is about 2 people from different races, like the 2 of them, trapped on an island together, and they fight a monster together. So what you're realizing is that the captain has set this all up. The Tanagran captain has set this all up in order to sort of get this message across to them. Like, you and I are Darmok and Jalad. And he found a planet with a beast on it so that they could do this together. Because they're trying to reach out to the Federation just as hard as the Federation is reaching out to them. Yes, team building. Team building has become a sort of filthy word, but team building is actually a good idea.
No, I think it's great.
People should build teams. It's just that when you hear team building exercise,
you think
like,
of all the corporate nonsense and buzzwords and.
Cinda, his face black.
Yeah, he's dying. He's like, this is not going well.
He's got white blood. It's got white out blood.
They have white blood. Did you say whiteout blend?
Yeah, I was like, that's where whiteout comes from.
Somebody came in with the whiteout.
You milk a cake,
Tamarian.
Yeah.
Tamarian.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
That Nesmith lady milking all the Tamarians, taking their juice and making money off of it.
Sean, Philippe said that his favorite dinosaur as a child was an ankylosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about the ankylosaurus?
it's like a sort of, it has a shape of a anteater a little bit, but it's like an armored back, and it has like it's kind of got a tail with a sort of ball,
Morning
sort of
star
armadillo-y.
yeah, armadillo. That's and that's
right, because they have those. Like,
I liked how it sort of was like a tank, and it was like had spikes along the ridges.
Yeah, and it has a club tail.
It has a club tail. Which
were you a dinosaur kid? Like
I was, I went through a phase, and I had a book that I would kind of thumb through pretty often. But my favorite illustration, for some reason, I always liked the ankylosaur. For some,
I think that book had a typo in it. Because I remember it as ankylosaur as well, but it's actually ankylosaur.
Well,
yeah,
now,
the L comes after the Y.
Well, now I don't care for it as much because that just ruined.
It's better if it's ankly.
Yeah,
it comes at you the ankles.
I don't know. It's just the way
He's ankly.
Did you figure that out? Because we just played the Lego Jurassic World video game?
I figured it out when the Jurassic World movies came out because the kid was talking about them. And I was like, wait, that's how you say that word? And then I would always hear Philippe say it the same way. And I was like,
maybe Jurassic World has a typo.
Maybe.
Well, the online version is Ankylosaurus, or
A-N-K-Y, right?
Yeah, A-N-K-Y-L.
But I always remember A-N-K-L-Y. But
yeah, that's how he said it in the episode. Actually, that's how Philippe said it.
This is really changing like this is a paradigm shift for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my favorite dinosaur anymore now, but
okay. But look at Paul Winfield and Patrick Stewart. Paul Winfield is dying, and basically he said, "Tell me a story." So Jean-Luc has told him in a beautiful monologue that none of us paid attention to. He tells him this story of Gilgamesh, an ancient story from Earth.
Yeah,
and
Inky
they communicate for the first time because Patrick Stewart is a fucking great actor. And so is Paul Winfield. And they're like, oh, they understand each other finally. And then he dies.
Yeah. It's deep.
It's beautiful.
And it was all worth it.
Paul Winfield should have gotten a supporting actor Emmy, or a guest actor Emmy, I guess it would have been.
Do they have those?
For this episode. They do.
They do, yeah.
And they did back then, but they didn't give them to shows like Star Trek.
Yeah.
Boo, Emmy people.
Yeah, boo Emmy people.
I kind of always...
Emmy's so white.
Yeah.
Did anybody... Matt, did you watch White Lotus?
I watched the first episode, and I hated them all so much that I could not continue. Even though I heard it was great, and I was like, I understand what they're going for here, and I understand that they're horrible on purpose.
Yeah,
but I just didn't. It just didn't make me. I didn't enjoy watching those people be horrible, and it also felt a little bit like, I bet the people who made this are a little horrible too. Like, this is a little like, let's make fun of the thing that we are so that everyone knows.
So we don't have to feel bad about it.
Everyone knows we're in on the joke. I was like, okay.
Well, see, it was Mike White, and he wrote one of my most favorite movies ever, School of Rock. So I was so sad that I didn't like it, and also so sad that so many people did. And talk about Emmy so white, like everyone
right.
Well, that was on that show got nominated for an Emmy this year.
It was filled with great, Jennifer Coolidge is amazing. And
yeah,
I actually enjoyed it, but I almost, it's not the kind of thing I usually enjoy, and it's usually for that reason, because I don't think it's just going to be too much to go through this whole journey with these horrible people. But
yeah, there's the abs.
Yeah,
there's that shot. I knew it was in there. Sean knows Mike White from The Amazing Race.
I do.
Picard with his short shirt
he
open.
with his dad.
Picard, his abs visible.
Yeah.
His abs unfurled.
Yeah.
His abs unfurled. See, there you go, Kenyon. Put that into the thing. Make Jake happy so we don't have to hear about
Thank
this
you,
anymore.
Ken. It didn't happen to you, okay? It didn't happen to you.
Picard and abs in Southern California.
Yeah. So they don't kill the monster. The monster survives.
That's fine.
Which is fine. Like,
that was the point of the monster was,
if you make a movie about fighting a bear, you don't have to necessarily kill the bear. You just have to
Why are they shooting?
survive the bear.
They're sneaking out.
So the whole time, Riker's been like, should I blow these people out of the sky or what? And for once, Worf has been sort of like restrained because he's like, we probably shouldn't start a war.
so un-Klingon sometimes.
Well, to be fair, he just got back from that whole thing in the last week.
He just started a war, so
I think he's learned that maybe that's not the best plan of action. To just be kill, kill, kill all the time.
But Jean-Luc's there. Look at that.
And he's
Look
coming in to handle things, baby. We don't need these guns.
Dark lighting. Look at that. I love that dark lighting. They usually light that bridge so bright.
Yeah, I know.
That's actually kind of a cool look for that bridge.
He just went through Duolingo and he is ready.
And he knows exactly what to say.
Yep.
Even Data's like, what the fuck?
Even Data's like, I don't know. We figured it out. Like, we knew. Because Data and Troy's problem was we understand the problem, but we don't understand the stories. So unless you know the story, the words don't mean anything.
Right.
But Jean-Luc has learned the story.
So Shaka, when the walls fell, is him telling them that their captain's dead, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. It's like a metaphor for bad news.
Yeah.
But he has this diary that the captain kept when they were down on the planet. And now, now they've become their own metaphor.
Is now a story.
With his abs unfurled.
Morale with sails unfurled. Morale with sails unfurled means get us the fuck out of here. That's like Tanagran for Warp Factor 9. Because they just go immediately after this. Does that guy have an extra long thumb?
Yeah, they all do. I noticed that. I didn't want to bring it up because I thought it would undermine the entire episode.
No.
Because it was too long.
That thumb looked too long to me,
It looks
sir.
like it has like a sucker.
Paul Winfield's thumb was like, I was like, oh my God, it just got X-rated for a second.
Was it?
And it was crazy. But I didn't want to detract from his performance because he had to do that performance wearing that thumb. I mean, his shirt and that little Christmas tree, it's a little Christmassy.
Do you guys want the rest of the episode's over, but should we just...
Yeah.
Do it.
Shaka when the walls fell, man.
Oh, they're not open. Oh, it's not quite over yet.
Oh, yeah. That looks like the Star Enterprise heading.
I'm going to skip over Anne of Green Gables, Diane Fossey conspiracy theory, and just go straight to episode 126, Coming of Age. Aaron, we asked you, this was in season 1 of Next Generation.
Okay.
And I very unkindly asked you to take a test. And I named the names of the actors and dared you to name the characters. Do you think you could do that now, right? You've watched enough of this.
Some days I can, and some days
Who's
I
Marina Sirtis? Who does she play?
Deanna Troy.
Right. That's
but
the
ask
one.
me 3
that's
days
the
ago,
one
I
that
might
screwed
have had.
you up.
I'm weird with proper nouns. I get brain freezes.
That's the one that screwed you up
Yeah.
the first time we did.
Well, because sometimes we say the last name and sometimes we say the first name. Like you said Deanna earlier tonight, and I was like, Deanna? Which one's Deanna? Because I think of her as Troy.
Oh, there's the fish.
Yep, Livingston.
Also, I just think that wasn't a fair question to ask because it was so early in season 1 that we did that.
Yeah, but that's the kind of things we do. We're assholes.
These characters aren't in my brain like they are you guys. 'Cause, I haven't spent so much time with them.
Episode 126 is about Wesley applying to Starfleet. Ooh, I like when they do this outside shot, the outside looking in shot. They don't do it very often,
rare,
but it's a really good effect for that era. Like, he really looks like he's standing at a window.
Why does it feel like some episodes when some things are good, everything is good? Like they do a lot of cinematography, they do some extra tricks. It's like, and then some episodes are like, just show the space painting on his wall.
I mean, it's got to be just,
budge the budget.
Yeah, and how we're feeling that week, and are we in week 26 or are we in week 3?
We just need
we're all feeling fresh.
We need to throw this episode together quick.
Right, we just got to crank one out this week, you guys. Wesley's taking the test to get into the academy, and there's a guy who has a sort of metallic harmonica mustache underneath his nose that blows smoke up into his
harmonica bong.
Yeah.
You guys remember that guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that character's species is benzite. He's a benzite.
Yes.
And we didn't know what that thing was for, but according to Memory Alpha, benzites are unable to breathe a standard oxygen nitrogen atmosphere and are required to wear a breathing apparatus. So that's what that was. We weren't sure if it was that or if he was just getting high. We speculated.
I think it can be both.
Yeah, that's true.
So they on their own planet they ain't wearing that. That's
not the most airtight form of gas inhalation. You're still getting a lot of oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere if you're breathing in that way.
They must need to just add a little something to it.
Yeah,
you gotta add a little touch of smoky smoke.
Yeah, we just need a little THC, and then we're good.
Could it smell like pineapples, man? We talked about why supervillains wear purple and green outfits. There are a lot of them. The Green Goblin. Joker. But we didn't really know if there was like a reason for that. I did find an article from ScreenRant.com that speculated that green is the color of greed and sort of envy and ambition and bile, right? If you think back sort of classically to the humors. The green is a color that sort of has negative connotations, and purple is the color of power, right? It's the color of like British kings wore
Royalty.
Purple.
Yeah.
So disgustingness and ambition. Which seems, I mean, that felt
Makes sense.
That felt like a B+ college like paper that you would turn in.
I feel like
been like this, this is why this is.
I'm sure,
and they'd be like, "Yeah, sure."
I'm sure
B+.
it is
87.
completely coincidental.
I feel like the simpler answer is they've already picked other colors for the main,
right? Because everyone else is red, white, and blue.
Yeah, and so like you're kind of like
have a red, blue guy.
And in early comics, you really didn't have like a lot of fancy printing.
Right,
like
the colors were pretty limited.
Yeah.
The palette.
So you're just gonna be the purples and the greens are gonna go with the. That's my theory.
We talked about Metal Gear Solid 5.
Sure.
I had not played it at the time that we recorded that episode, but I have since. That's the correction. I have since.
And thumbs up, right?
Yeah, I loved that game. It's completely bonkers, and I didn't understand what was happening like 80% of the time, but I loved it.
There you go.
It was because we were talking about Death Stranding and
another batshit game.
Another batshit crazy game.
We talked about Aaron met Scott Bakula once.
Hell yeah, I did.
When Scott Bakula
at the dog pound
adopted a dog.
Wearing the shirt right
Aaron
now. Got Scott Bakula on my belly.
Where Aaron was a volunteer.
Yeah.
And we talked about the fact that he was on NCIS New Orleans.
True.
Correct. He's not anymore because it's not on anymore. But the correction is, we didn't know if it was filmed in New Orleans. We joked that it was probably shot here. They filmed it in New Orleans.
Oh, good for him. Have you guys seen the trailer for the Quantum
reboot?
Leap reboot?
What? I didn't even know
I
such a
wanted to
thing
ask you
existed.
about that.
I'm assuming you're furious.
No, I actually was excited. I mean, it doesn't look like they took my idea, but I was still looking forward to it. Not anymore. Not happy about the trailer. I understand that they have not yet to decide. They've yet to get Scott Bakula to commit to it. So they're going ahead without him at first.
What? Okay, so so that's the thing you're upset about, or what's?
Well, it's just the premise is they haven't really. I mean, basically, it's just this guy who decides to go back and try to figure out why he never came back.
Okay.
And then I guess it's, they're talking about it's going to be more. There's going to be more of an overarching storyline that takes place in the present of the show.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Quantum Leap should be in the past, always in the past.
Yeah.
He goes around making right what once went wrong.
Yeah.
Yes,
And he says,
that
"Oh boy."
is what he does.
And hoping that each time that his next leap
It's the one
will be
home.
the leap
He
home.
also sleeps with a lot of those ladies.
He does.
Are there a lot of his babies around out there?
Yeah.
Well, that was my
From all of
premise.
that
Was
time
it should have been
jumping?
his daughter, his in-canon daughter that he has, that he produced when he was in the past.
I think he's probably
Not a
pretty
son, maybe?
He's probably got a
Any
lot of
character?
kids.
Well, he's Asian, so it would be a mixed baby.
So, yeah. You didn't sleep with any Asians?
No.
Mm.
Well,
Never in the
maybe. I mean, there's the one where he's married to a Japanese woman, but they never really show him having sex.
I mean,
So you figure he probably did at some point in time.
there you go.
He wasn't with her for very long. It was only a couple of days. And they were at his parents' house, so there's a good chance he didn't have sex with her during that
Is
time.
he Tasha Yar's dad?
Yes.
I have two more
Yes.
things to say. It's time now for possum news,
Yay!
which there is weirdly a lot of. Like, I googled possum news thinking that I would find articles from 3 months ago, 6 months ago. Like, how often could there be possum news? I found an article from yesterday and an article from today.
Wow.
Yesterday's article is from Newsweek. Blind possum born with underdeveloped eyes charms rescuers, internet.
Nice.
It's a story about a possum. There it is.
Oh.
You see that?
Yep.
You see that, Aaron?
Yeah.
You're not ever going to convince me that that's a cute thing. Anyway, his name is Sylvester. They saved him. He's blind.
How
And
did
now-
he? Because I can't really tell from that photo what's different about his eyes. Is like a regular.
They said it was just a genetic thing. Anyway, but he's now happily living at the. I was going to tell you where it was.
They're funny. Look, they're just gentle creatures. Like they coexist. They're coexisters.
And that's great. But you can't make me love them. Oh, this is why it's in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, nice.
The Humane Society of Huron Valley.
Yeah.
In Ann Arbor, Michigan.
There's a lot of woodland creatures in Michigan.
Is where they came from. And he ends up at the Wildside Rehabilitation and Education Center in Eaton Rapids.
I've been to Eaton
Michigan.
Rapids. I used to think it was called Eating Rapid, like eating rabbits when I was little.
Cool.
Sylvester loves to sit on shoulders and even your head if you're wearing a hat that he likes. He also likes to hang out in his backpack pouch, keeping employees and volunteers company throughout their workday.
I would like
He is a delight, and they're all happy to have him. So
He is a delight.
a good story about Sylvester.
Oh, Sylvester.
We love you, Sylvester.
And then our
Even
other
if
piece.
Matt doesn't.
I love Sylvester. I'm just saying you can't make me tell you I think he's good looking. Like, I'll never think they're cute, even if I think they're nice.
It's like with Min and Tom Cruise.
Right.
You're just like,
It's a lot like that.
What do you think of Steve Buscemi?
Steve Buscemi does not have a 14-inch snout sticking off the front of his face.
But you would
That's
say
a
he's a
bad comparison.
the closest human equivalent.
He's the closest human possum. Steve Buscemi.
I love the man. I'm just saying, like,
You want the second piece?
It's not-
Are you ready for the
Possum is an
second piece of
acquired
possum
taste.
news?
More
Yes.
possum news.
It's not happening, Steve, is what she's saying.
All right. This is Dateline Wausau. I think it's Wausau, Florida. It's from mypanhandle.com. Dateline Wausau, Florida. Possum Festival attracts large crowds for 53rd year.
Wow.
In Florida?
It's the time of the summer when a Washington County town pays tribute to a certain marsupial.
Yeah.
The 53rd
I
annual
know
Possum
where our
Festival.
first remote show is going to be from.
Yes.
And just about the whole community came out to partake in the festivities.
Fuck Star Trek Las Vegas.
This
We're going
parade
to
is
Possum
really
Fest.
awesome, festival goer James Anderson said. My kids love this parade, and the inflatables are great, and the music is great, and there's always good food, and it sure is nice just to be around with the people. Wausau has a population of fewer than 400 people.
Oh, wow.
And the Possum Festival is just about the biggest day of the year for the town.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I need
the
to see
festival,
pictures of the inflatable.
The festival raises money for scholarships for college students and also to support the local recreation club. The one that does the ball teams and all for the kids, Wausau Development Club President Steve Taylor said.
So it's a town in Florida with only 400 people.
It's a very small town.
They have a possum.
They have a possum festival.
If we're going to go do a remote there, I think maybe it just be me and Matt and Aaron, and the rest of you might not want to go with us.
You're saying the white people should go?
No. We're the best three.
Oh, okay.
We've
not
always
going.
known that.
I'm not going.
I agree. You guys are the
I don't go to. The event featured the parade, a possum king and queen, and even possums for auctioning. Possums are sort of sidelined in that story,
right? I'm like,
there wasn't a lot about the possums.
Yeah,
it was more about how good this was for the town. So then I looked up Wausau, Florida, because I was curious. Wausau is almost exactly in the middle of the Panhandle, between Tallahassee, which is sort of the eastern big city,
which is a trash city,
and Pensacola, which is about as far
Tallahassee
west.
is as garbage a city as you can get.
Never been.
Wausau is almost exactly in the middle.
It
only has
seems more
400
like a
people.
southern thing than a Florida thing.
I was curious about how much it would cost to live in Wausau, Florida.
Ooh.
$5.
Everything is paid for with possums.
Because there are only
25 possums.
400 people in town. There aren't really a lot of houses.
Not
for
a lot
sale.
of Zillow.
But in the surrounding area, within 2 miles of Wausau, you can get a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house for $210,000.
Let's go. Come on.
And it actually,
Moving to
you
Wausau.
click on it and you think this is going to suck. It's pretty good inside. It's got a remodeled kitchen. It's got an island. That doesn't look bad to me at all.
Let's go. Let's buy it. Let's do it, guys.
For $210,000.
4-bedroom, we could fit 80 people in there.
For only $49,500.
Let's do it.
You can buy a 5-acre lot.
Nice.
I mean, it's 5 acres of
possums,
panhandle swampland.
And possums.
You can buy it.
I don't.
For $190,000, you can buy 45 acres.
Oh man, of swampland
in Florida.
That's kind of amazing.
It's amazing to think that
So tell us more about Tallahassee, Sean.
I mean, I think we're moving to Wausau.
Yeah,
If we can buy this house for $2. Look at that. Look at the island.
That's
Look
amazing.
at the backsplashes for $210,000.
I mean,
we're moving.
that's what parking tickets cost in LA.
We're moving to Wausau. Look, they have a
wow.
They have like a tub, like a up
A
above
stand-up
ground tub.
Yeah.
Shower
little
doors,
feet.
flash shower doors. I don't like
Look at that.
curtains.
I like that.
That's just like it's just like open. You just like splash around. There's no impediments.
So, that's what's up in possum news, everybody.
Wow.
A trademarked feature of Warped.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's such a good news that we're not going to talk about our slightly less interesting or less happy possum news till next time. We're still getting over it.
Circle of life, man.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Matt.
Thank you very much for listening to Warped. You can go to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to rate and review and subscribe. You can email us at warpedpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at WarpedTrek. I'm at HostWarped. Min has Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu live streams and podcasts at Wet Maynard.
We love you, men. Come back soon.
Go listen to Off the Wagon if you haven't. It is really, really funny.
But don't fall in love because we're never going to get there on our quality level.
Instagram at Warped the Podcast and at Lunar_Flare. That's it. Next week it's Ensign Row. We met Ensign Row for the very first time. That's another great episode.
Yep. Man, this is just full of greats.
This season is really good.
Yeah. Third season.
You should actually watch it.
Yeah, maybe.
We
should watch it.
Oh, we should watch it. We
I
should
was
get
really
on
sad I didn't watch this episode.
I watched it 2 nights ago.
Damn it, I didn't watch Darmok.
I watched it 2 nights ago, and it was as good as it's ever been.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
All right.
close it out.
Warped when the
Who started?
podcast.
You did.
Oh, my name is Matt.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jake.
Leap.
I'm here.
I'm May.
Thank you for listening, and good night.